So welcome back guys to the channel. So I'm starting a new series in which I'm gonna focus on the top interview questions which get asked in Apex triggers. So this series will gonna be very informative as I'm gonna explain the question and then first I will explain the unoptimized naive approach, how you can approach that question and after that I will move on to the optimized approach and then will tell you how interviewer judge you. Like most of the time what happen, you are doing great, you are giving answers to every question, whatever the code interviewer has asked to write, you are writing the code very well and you think your interview is going very good, but somehow you don't get the offer. The only reason this happened because the quality of your code. When you are writing Apex trigger, you are like maybe you are missing a lot of things. You are not bulkifying it. You are using SQL in the loop. There are some best practices and there are some bad practices in Salesforce Apex. So you have to maintain everything. Many times the solution is very easy. You can write a code in 4 to 5 lines, but most of the time solution was not optimized. And sometimes you are not explaining approach to the interviewer. Because whenever you are thinking something, you have to tell the interviewer that I'm thinking that way. Sometimes you are wrong. So, like if interviewer is very good, he or she will tell you that you are thinking it in a wrong way. The solution will not gonna be optimized, and you have to optimize it in some other way, and then you will think in the right way. That's how you have to think whenever you are like giving your Apex interview. So I will start with this question. I will first explain the whole question and then we'll tell you how you can approach this question and then we'll show you a naive solution of it and then we'll tell you how you can optimize that solution. That's how you have to do in the interview, the full procedure. First, you have to show the interview that you have some approach, give that approach, write the code. If interview asks you like you can optimize it, like if interviewer is saying that you can optimize it or not, 80% times it can be optimized. So you have to think like how can you optimize it? So that's how I'm gonna teach you how you can think of that. So let's start with the first question. So first let's read the question. Write an Apex trigger on contact that updates the related account's description with has active context when at least one contact exists for the account. It is telling you to write the trigger on contact but wants to update the account description. So that means the trigger is on some other object, but the update field is on some other object. So now you have to decide you have to write the before trigger or you have to write the after trigger. So that's where your thinking should start. But here you can see there are some rules. Like whenever you are writing the trigger on an object, but you are updating a related object, never, you never have to use before here. Because the field of the account will only update when the action on the contact will be completed. That means after the contact has been triggered, then the account field will gonna update. So you can see the before will only work on the same object. Like before the data is getting saved, you want to update something. Like if I had to update something on the contact, then I will go for the before because I can update the contact field and then I can commit the data in the database. But when you are talking about a related object, first the contact data will be saved and then the account description will be updated. So I have to choose here after. Then it is saying the Apex trigger will be on contact and that updates the record. It never said when the account is created or updated. So you have to write the trigger on both. Or maybe you have to check is it applicable for delete or undelete also. So that's how you have to think. So I'm gonna write the code for this and then we'll explain you how you can approach this. So this is my org and here I have opened my developer console and I have already written the trigger which I'm going to use for this. This is a naive approach. So I'm going to explain you like when you don't know how things will work, I have to write the before trigger or the after trigger. So first of all, what you need to do is write all of the context variable here, all of them, before, after, everyone, and make sure you are not using before and delete because it does not exist in Salesforce Apex. It only has after and delete. So here I'm triggering the contact on after insert and then after update The after logic is from here, if this if and then update. That means after update. That's how after delete. That's how after undelete. That's how I'm calling every handler from here. And you can see I'm handling the old and the new both here, because sometimes in update what happens is you break the relationship of one contact record and then add that relationship to another contact. That means you have to update the old one and the new one both. That's how things work. So you have to send the old record and the new record both. So now you can see I have written the contact trigger handler here. This is the method description update I'm calling from the trigger here, description update. And you can see, and I'm already telling you, this is a naive approach only. This code might be not optimized and not feasible for business processes. But I'm just telling you because sometimes people write the code correct and that works fine, but it was not a feasible approach that don't work when the data is too much. So that's how you have to make sure you are writing the bulkified and optimized code. So here let's understand the logic. I'm getting the contact list here and I'm creating a set here of the account IDs. You can see I'm storing the IDs in the account IDs and I'm using a for loop here and I'm iterating the contact list here, which I'm getting from the trigger. Okay. So you don't get a single record updating from trigger. You always get a list when you are working on a trigger. So make sure to remember that. So I'm gonna iterate whole context, and in each contact I check if that contact is related to some account or not. How I'm checking that? I'm checking it this way. I'm checking the account ID is null or not. If the account ID is not null, that means that contact is related to some account. If that contact is related to some account, I'm fetching that contact here using a SQL query. Here you can see ID, name and description from that account, where ID is equal to account ID, contact.account ID. So you can see I'm getting that account and I'm updating that description of the account with has active contacts and then committing it into the database. That's how I'm updating the account. This approach is working fine. And as you can see, if I go to an contact and create a contact here, first let's create an account. Let's create an account with fan account and let's save it, fan account, and go to the details and you can see the description is empty for now. Let's create a contact, fan contact, and I have to choose a relationship, the fan contact, and just save it. And you can see I have in contact and it is related to this account. Let's open this account. And here in the account, let me go to the details and you can see the description is updated with has active contacts. That was the question says. I have to write a trigger on contact that updates the related account description with has active contact when at least one contact exists for the account. I created an account and then I created a contact and that contact is related to that account. That means that account description should be updated with has active context. From my perspective, when I'm giving an interview, I have the right approach. My code is working, my trigger is working. I have full confidence that I'm writing the code and the solution is feasible. But I will not get selected. You know why? Because writing a SQL query in the loop is a bad practice. Because you can only run 100 SQL queries in a single go. What if that contact list is more than 100 records? That SQL query will fail. That's how this approach is not feasible. Maybe interviewer will ask you to optimize this approach. He or she will say, this approach is good and working, that is okay. Now can you optimize it? Then what will you do? That's how your real interview starts, and you have to think that way. You have to optimize this now. So I'm going to show you the optimized code now, and I will explain you how the things are working. So now I have updated the code here. So you can see you just have to write the after context variables. You don't need to write the before context variables when you already know your trigger is only for after. That is the first thing you have to optimize. The second thing, when you already know you are like you are calling the same method again and again on the after insert, after update, after delete, after undelete. You already know you are calling the same method, but you have to send trigger.old, trigger.new. Let me open the old code. Here in the old code, in update, you are sending old and new, and in the delete, you are sending old because when you are deleting something, the records will be old. There will be no new records. So you have to send old at that time. So you can see in insert, I'm only sending the new records. In update, I'm sending the old records and the new records both. And in delete, I'm only sending the old records because new record did not get created when you're deleting something. And I'm sending new records when I'm undeleting something. You can see I'm calling the same method again and again with different conditions. And in the update, what I did, I called the same method 2 times. That is not good. So the optimized version will be this. As you can see, I have only used one method here, and I have not used any after insert, after update, after delete, after undelete. I will gonna handle everything with this. I'm sending new and old list both in the single method as parameters. Now let's see the actual handler code. Now you can see this is my handler. What I am doing, I'm creating a set with account IDs as I did in my old approach. But this time, what I'm doing, first I'm checking the old list. If it is not null, that means there is a old list which is coming from the trigger. That is the proof of that. If I'm getting an old list from the trigger, then I will iterate that old list and will gonna check if it has an account related to it or not by checking if it is null or not null. If it is not null, that means there is account associated with it, and I'm gonna save the account ID in my set. Okay. Now the same thing for new list. I'm gonna check if I'm getting the new list or not because there might be the delete case where I will not get new list. I will get only the old list. So I can have every type of condition. If I'm not getting the new list, this block will not run. If I'm getting the new list, I will iterate the new list. I will check if the contact have an account related to it, each contact, and then if it has, then I will gonna save the account. Now in my set, I have a list of account IDs which is related to some contact which are triggering. So now here I'm checking if my list is not empty. I might get zero count from this and this. So I have to check if my account ID set is not empty. So I have checked it here, and then I will gonna run an SQL query. Here you can see I'm running the SQL query in a if block, not a loop. So it is not a bad practice. It is a good practice now. I'm getting a list of accounts which are in the set. So I will get all the accounts which ID I have collected. So I will get all the account in this list. So now what I need to do is I have all the accounts which are related to some contacts in which the trigger has run. So that means all the accounts are the culprits and I have to update the description of those accounts. Here I just have to run a simple loop on the account list and update the description has active contacts. With the update operation, data will be committed into the database of Salesforce. Let's check this one if this is working or not. Again, let's create an account again. Okay, this time I will create phone account. So I have phone account now. Here you can see now I have to create a contact in this. First, let's see in the details section if we have something in the description or not. We have nothing in the description. Let's go into the contact and create a related contact for it. Phone related contact. Don't mind the spellings. And you can see it is already selected this account. So let's save it. So I have a contact related to my account now. Let's see the details. Here you can see the description has been updated, has active contact. So you can see this is an optimized approach. I did not use multiple lines in the trigger, like I'm not running it again for every insert, update, and everything. I'm using correct context variables. If I don't need before context variable, I'm not using it. In the handler, I'm handling the old and new list at the same time. What I'm doing, I'm running the SQL query outside the loop. These all are the best practice which I'm using, and my trigger is working fine. That's how we solved this problem, and I hope you understood the whole concept. The questions are correct, the answers are also correct, but sometimes the answer might be not optimized. You just have to optimize it by thinking hard. You have to think how you can bulkify a solution. That's how you solve a problem. So let's move to other question. So this time the question is write a trigger on lead that prevents duplicate email addresses. If you found any duplicate, then you have to throw an error using add error. Sometimes the interviewer will not tell you how you have to show the error, which method you have to use to show the error on the field. So that is add error which you have to use in your Apex code. So we have to write a trigger on lead that prevents duplicate email addresses. So how you can do it? So you can clearly see before my lead is getting saved into a database, I have to show the error. You can clearly see I have to check all the leads which are already present in my Salesforce org. If I found that email which I'm going to use to create or update record, that means I should not be able to create a record or update a record if I'm using a email which is already getting used in some other lead. So I can clearly see I can use the before trigger here because I want to stop it before it is committing into a database. And I'm not seeing any related object here. When you see a related object in the question, that means you have to go with the after. Here I have to work on the same field of the lead, like lead has the email field. I have to work on that email field. I have to prevent duplicate on that email field which is already in the lead. Trigger is on the lead, field is on the lead. That means everything on the same object. I use the before trigger here. That's how you have to think. Okay. So I have to throw an error. So first I will go with the naive approach here again. So here is the trigger. It is an unoptimized approach. So here what I did is I ran all the context variable at the top, and then I created a flow. Like I'm controlling the flow here. I'm telling it if it is before insert, then run this method. You can see first I'm checking for before and then I'm checking for insert. And then I'm running this handler class. And likewise, you can see it is in the before if, that means before update. I'm running this handler on before update. That's how you can control the flow also. So I'm here running on before insert and before update. So let's see the handler class. Here the handler class is very easy. What I'm doing, I'm getting a list of lead. I'm first checking if the lead list which I'm getting in the trigger is not null or empty. Okay, that is okay. Then I'm running a loop on the list. Okay. And then in each lead, I'm checking if the email is not null. That means if the lead has the email. Okay. So that means whatever lead is triggering, I'm checking if those lead have email or not. If they have email, that means if the email is not null, they have email, that means. Then I'm checking for duplicate lead. What I'm doing on the spot, I'm running a SQL query or checking if I'm getting an email with that same email. And this record has not been created yet because I'm running it on before. That's why when it will search for emails, it will not search for this triggered record itself, it will search for others. So this SQL query will tell me if I get an email with the same email name which I'm using. So if I get some record which has the duplicate email, I will just show the error here. If I'm getting any duplicate lead, that lead will be stored in this list. And then I will check if the list is empty or not. If the list is not empty, that means I got some duplicate lead. If I got some duplicate lead, then I can show an error, duplicate email found. So let's check this if this is working or not. So here you can see I'm opening a lead. So let's create a new lead here. So lead will be my watch lead. Okay, it has a watch company and the email will be watch@gmail.com. And let's save it. You can see it has been saved and the email is watch@gmail.com. So let's create another lead with the same email. pan company, and wait a minute, pan company should be here, and fan lead. Okay, and that should be watch@gmail.com for the same email. Here you can see I got an error, duplicate email found, which I have written here, duplicate email found. Let's try to update a field. Here you can see I have created this lead earlier. Let's try to update this. And let me write watch here and then try to save it. You can see I'm getting the error on both insert and update. So this trigger is working, and you might think after writing this code, you have written the very correct code and you should be selected in the interview. But you will be not, because again you have used the SQL query in the for loop. That is a very bad practice. And in the trigger, you could have just used before context variables without using after, but you have used the after. So let's see the optimized approach. So here you can see this is my second approach and my trigger code is same. Let's move on to the handler. And here you can see I have changed the code. What I'm doing is at the first, when I'm getting the lead list, I'm fetching all the leads from the Salesforce org, all of them. Okay. And then what I'm doing, I'm running a for loop on all the leads which I get from the Salesforce org. And then I'm running a double loop on the lead list which I'm getting from that trigger. And then I'm just checking if both the email are not null from the all leads and my lead list, and the lead email and my triggered lead email is same. That means this email should exist in my org already and I should give the error. So here I am giving error. When you want to show the error on the specific field, you write with field dot add error. That's how. Let's see if this is working or not. Let's again try to save this one. And you can see this time I get the error in the field name. Duplicate email found, and this code is working. But the shocking news is that this code is still not optimized. You can see I'm using the SQL query outside the loop. It is better than the earlier code, but it is not still the best code. The thing is, I'm using double loop here. That is increasing the complexity of code. And if it is increasing the complexity of the code, the interviewer might ask you to optimize it further. And then you have to think more hard. So now let me tell you a more optimized approach for this question. So here I have done some changes in the trigger. What I did, I have removed all the after context variables. I am only using before insert, before update, before delete. I'm not writing the line again and again. I'm just using the or operator here so that it can run for both before insert and before update. So, you have to reduce the line of code always. Try to reduce the line of code. That's how your code will look good. So this is the handler class here. So you can see the code is big now, but it is the best optimized code. You will see how. So at the start of the code, what I'm doing, I'm creating a set of strings named lead emails. That means I'm gonna store all the emails in this set. I will gonna iterate the whole lead list, whole the triggering lead list, which I'm getting from the trigger in this handler. And I'm checking if the email is not null, then store it in the set. I'm storing all the leads in the set now. So after storing all the leads in the set, what I will check first, I will check if the list is not empty. That means if I don't get any emails in this, then I don't need to run further. If I get some emails, if I get some emails, then I will go further. Now I have a set of emails. So using those emails, I can easily run a SQL query in my Salesforce database and check if any of those emails is already exist in my Salesforce org or not. So that's what I am doing here. I'm using an existing lead list, which is a lead list, and I'm running a SQL query here. Select ID, name, email from lead, where email in the set. So you can see all of the emails which are in the set will be checked by a SQL query. If any of the duplicate lead will be found, then it will get stored in the list. That means if that list is not empty, I should have to throw error. But I can only throw error on the record of this lead list I'm getting from the trigger. And make sure when you are using dot add error, you only write dot add error with the record of this list, iterate this list. When you are iterating this list, you can only use add error at that time. What I need to do, I need to iterate this list and then I can use my add error. So what I did is I cannot directly throw add error, but I know if this list is empty, that means there is no duplicate found. If this list is not empty, that means I found some duplicates. That I know. So what I will do, I will gonna check. I will gonna iterate this and we're gonna check. So here I have used the map. String lead, that means email to lead map. Email to lead map, I'm going to copy this list in the map. That's what I did in this loop. I'm iterating this list and just creating a map here. Here you have to write like email to, for email to lead, what I need to do is I need to put email and then whole lead, comma whole lead. That means now email is getting mapped to the whole lead. So that's how I mapped all the leads with their emails. Okay. I'm using this because I need to use contains key. In map, the contains key is a O1 complexity operation. So I don't have to use double for loop here. I can just use the contains key. So after that, I'm gonna iterate this one because I can only use add error on the triggering list records. Here, I'm checking if my lead email is not null, and if it is not null, then I am checking if my map contains this email. So here I am just again checking it. If map contain this email, that means that is a duplicate. If there is nothing in the map, that means no error. If this map has something, then it will get matched with the lead list. If my map contains any of the email which is in the lead list, that's what I need to check. I can also check if my map is empty or not. If my map is not empty, it has some values, then I will found it in the contains key, obviously. So when I found it, I will gonna throw the error here. Duplicate email form. Let's check this. I have opened the lead. Let's create a lead. Keyboard lead, keyboard company, and keyboard@gmail.com. Okay, let's save this. So a lead has been created. So let's create another lead and keyboard brother lead and keyboard brother company, but it is using the same Gmail, keyboard@gmail.com. You can see I got the error and it is on the field because I used the field name in my code. And you can see lead.email add error. So that's how you can see the optimized code. And I will gonna provide a GitHub repository in my description where you can find all the unoptimized and optimized code and you can see the differences and everything. You can also try to explore like how I have written these codes and all. So let's meet on the another session of top interview questions of Apex in Salesforce and stay with me and subscribe my channel.